pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nancy, will you do roll call, please?
Allen.
Here.
Bailey.
Private.
Bivens.
Here.
Book.
Here.
Considine.
Present.
Forster.
Present.
Hudson.
Present.
Humphrey.
Here.
Kitson.
Present.
Copine.
Here.
Slade. Minimi.
Here.
Naylor. Present. Nicholson.
Here.
Norberg.
Here.
Palin.
Here.
Sheeline.
Here.
Shippert. Present. Scrogstad.
Here.
White. Here. Williams.
Present.
Wilson.
Here.
Zeman.
Here.
Olson.
Here. Thank you. Under announcements, would everybody please mute or turn their cell phones off so there's no interruptions? We'll go to number 5, approval of board minutes of the August 25th, 2022 regular county board meeting. Is there any corrections? If there are no changes or corrections, I'll let the minutes stand from the August 25th, 2022 regular county board meeting stand as presented. I'll go down to number 6. We got a resolution of 12 Joseph Meyer tax auction. There are 12 Joseph Meyer tax auction resolutions. Do we have a motion for that? Marilyn, I got Tom Kitson a second. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, this needs to be done by a roll call vote. Nancy?
Book.
Yes.
Considine.
Yes.
Forster.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Humphrey.
Yes.
Kitson.
Yes.
Copine.
Yes.
Minimi.
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yes.
Norberg.
Yes.
Palin.
Yes.
Sheeline.
Yes.
Shippert.
Yes.
Scrogstad.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Zeman.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Valley.
Yes.
Bivens.
Yes.
And Olson.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you. Number 7, zoning and planning. The monthly report and minutes are in your packet. It's just monthly report. There is no minutes from the zoning board of appeals. That's just for your reading. We'll move down to B, petitions going to the zoning board of appeals. I petitioned 22-P-1597 special use for community solar project. Is there a motion for special use for community solar project to move project to the zoning board of appeals? Do I have a motion? Mr. Wilson, Mr. Cobine seconds that. Any discussion? If there's none, no discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We'll go down to number 2. Petition 22-P-1598, special use community solar project. I'd entertain a motion to send the petition 22-P-1598, special use for a community solar project to the zoning board of
Please.
appeals. Mr. Wilson makes the motion. Mr. Wilson makes the motion. Mr. Kitson seconds it. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 3, petition 22-P-1599. Is there a motion to send petition 22-P-1599, special use for community solar project to the zoning board of appeals? Mr. Sheeline moves. Mr. Norberg seconds it. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll go to C. We got petitions going to the planning commission. Petition 22-PC-68. Amendment for wind energy systems. I'd entertain a motion to send petition 22-PC-68 text amendment for wind energy systems to the planning commission. Do I have a second? Mr. Nicholson seconds that. I'm sorry. Ally. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. I go number 2, petition 22-PC-69, text amendment for solar energy systems. I'd entertain a motion to send this petition 22-PC-69, text amendment for solar energy systems to the planning commission. Ms. Shippert, Mr. Wilson seconds it. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. We'll go down to D, petitions coming from the zoning board of appeals. Petition 22-P-1595. Is there a motion to approve this petition 22-P-1595 special use for a community solar project in Dixon Township? Mr. Copine moves. Mr. Considine seconds it. Any discussion? We'll do this by roll call vote.
Considine,
Yes.
Barster,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Humphrey,
Stayed.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copine,
Yes.
Enemy,
Yes.
Naylor. Yes. Nicholson,
Yes.
Norberg,
Yes.
Palin,
Yes.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
No.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
White. Yes. Williams,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Allen. Yes. Valley,
Yes.
Bivens, Book,
No.
Olson.
I'll abstain.
Nineteen yes, 2 no, 2 abstain.
Motion carried. Thank you. We'll go down to E, petitions coming from the planning commission. There's none. We'll go to number 8 on the agenda, administrator monthly update and board member comments. Wendy, do you want to start?
I have no updates, Bob, other than the items that will be on the agenda a little bit later.
Board members at this time like to make a comment? None. We'll go to number 9, public comments. Everybody has 10 minutes to speak. Nancy will time us. And we'll start off with Jeff Sauter.
All right, get my timer started too. I want to go over. Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight and talk to you about, which I think you're all aware of, plan for Credit Services to receive in donation Tipper Creek Golf Course and request for $250,000 in support from the county toward that project. There's a lot of talk and a lot of things, and a lot of people have been contacted in this. And the first thing I'd say is I want to apologize that we weren't here for the initial vote. We're not, we don't have a lot of experience working with the county board. We get a small amount of money every year from the Public Health Board for early intervention program. And this isn't a thing that we normally do coming in front of the county board or asking for a large amount of money. So I'm sorry we weren't here last time, and I apologize. That's on us that not understand the process. Couple other things I've heard is why would you do this? Well, Credit Services has been around 70 years in Lee County. We support a lot of people here in Dixon and Ashland and Franklin and all over. We send a bus to Paw Paw every day and to a lot of other places down county. We've got group homes all over. And if you look at what we do, we support people with disabilities. You think, what are we doing with a golf course? Well, there is a place in upstate New York that I know some of you have looked at that support 40 or 50 people working on a golf course. And you say, why would you do that? Don't you have all this work out at Anchor Road and aren't people doing all this stuff? Well, we don't have railback work anymore. We don't get a lot from Board Warner and Blues Edelman. We do a little bit of work for Rainers, do some work for Wall Clipper. But if you're in the disability world, you'll know that Wall Clipper has started pulling that work back in-house. And they're doing less and less work with folks like us. And so we're like, what are we going to do with all these folks that we're supposed to be employing and finding a job and being part of something, earning some money? Everyone in America wants to earn a paycheck and have some money to spend. It's what we do here, right? It's American way, capitalist, market-driven society. And people want that stuff. People with disabilities want all the stuff that you want. So I look at that as a great opportunity to employ people with disabilities. Now, we wouldn't run a golf course. We would bid all of that out. We have to do competitive bids in our world. We bid out the catering, we bid out golf course, we bid out pro shop, all of that stuff, which is even better because then those folks with disabilities that would be part of those contracts, hiring them, would be working for not Credit Service, they'd be working for a private company making a regular wage. And that's a great outcome. The other thing is Credit Service will own that course. And I want to make a couple of other things clear about that. The Keys don't make any money on this. In fact, they're the biggest donor to this project. If we can get enough money to make them confident we can rehab the golf course, they're the biggest donor to this. They don't get a dime out of this. Rick Humphrey doesn't get a dime out of this. The Marshalls or the Koreas or anybody else doesn't get a dime out of this. We're not going to sell it to somebody else. There's not some backroom deal to make that happen. It'll be Crider owned, bid out competitively, the management of the golf course and the catering. The other thing I think is besides the jobs and keeping an asset in the community where Ronald Reagan was a caddy and Charles Walgreen was the founding member, been here a long time, over 100 years. The city has convinced us that we need to do a little more than just keep the golf course. So we have in our business plan to add a tent that would allow for 500-person events, weddings, receptions, all of that stuff. And that is good economic activity. And it's activity that doesn't happen in Lee County right now because people are going to Barnacopia, they're going over to Rock Falls, they're going down to Bureau Valley, down to Deer Grove. And we would have that. And again, another opportunity for local businesses, caterers, events folks to do something and a good revenue source for us because renting a big tent or renting an event space, if anyone's, I haven't had to do it yet, but if anyone's paid for a wedding around here with a lot of people, you know that they're going to ton of space. So it's pretty good revenue. The other thing that we've heard is that, you know, you said you needed 400,000 toward this from the county, and why would we give you 250? Well, we still need 400,000 from somewhere. We're going to have to find the balance from some other source. But like any sort of thing, when you're trying to raise money, or if you've got a sales goal, if you've ever done sales, that if your goal was 400,000, you're not going to turn down a $250,000 sale because you want the $400,000 sale. You're going to try to get another smaller sale to reach your goal. And I think that's the same thing here. We're putting a pile of money together. We have to make the people that own the golf course, the Keys, confident that we can do all of the work that needs to be done there. And there's a lot. If you've played the course, needs some work. People have done a great job. Humphrey's done a great job. The Keys done a great job of keeping it going, but it needs a little more TLC and it needs a big capital investment. But I will say, without county support, this project is probably dead. 250,000 added on top of what we need to raise from private sources is probably a bridge too far for us. And that's just the math, right? It's like buying a house. You either have the money or you don't, and you think you can raise this amount. The other thing, we have some private people that have talked about, yeah, I'm in if everyone's in. When we do grants right now, our successful grants have been working with KSP and Mississippi and Private Services and the federal government, and a lot of grantees love to see that kind of cooperation between different parties. It's the same with the people we work with and people we raise money with. They like to see everybody pulling in the same direction and that everyone's in to make this happen. And it is a big project and it's a big ask for the county. I realize that. But it is, you know, the county is a key part of this because we don't think we can get to our goal without support from you. You know, so I know you've got a lot of calls. People have questions. I'm happy to answer any questions that people want to ask me. I would just say that this is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity for us. If we don't get this done, there probably isn't going to be a golf course in Dixon anymore. That's just the reality of the situation. And I don't mean that in a threatening way. I just mean it in kind of a matter of fact that we either get this done or we don't. It's a yes or no kind of thing. I appreciate everyone's time. We got a lot of people that work very hard on this. I understand if you live down county, you think, why would I do this? Well, again, we serve people all over the county. We've got group homes all over Lee County. We serve kids in our early intervention program. We serve kids in our autism program. We serve kids at Anchor Road every day. And this would be another opportunity for people in our county to do something kind of neat and inclusive and kind of one of a kind for the Midwest and continue what has been a great legacy in Dixon for people with disabilities. I said it at one of the committee hearings. When my wife and I moved back home, I'm from Sterling. She grew up on a farm on the Rock Falls side of County Line Road down by Harmon. And when we were looking at where to live, one of the things that sticks out about Lee County and about Dixon is people with disabilities are accepted here. They're treated like everyone else. They're given opportunities they aren't given everywhere else. And this would be part of it. And it would build on that legacy of being a place that is really, really great, better than any place I've been in the country for people with disabilities. And I would just ask for one of the no votes to reconsider the vote and give us an opportunity to see what the county board as a whole believes about the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Go next to Bob Veneer.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bob Veneer, and I have been on the grounds of Dixon Country Club / Timber Creek for 45 years. And I am here in full support of our future. Over the past year, there has been many good people working hard on a plan to secure that future. And I applaud them for their diligence, many hours of talks, planning, and discussions. I believe in this plan and what they have in mind. A golf course is much more than just golf. It's a meeting place where business deals are made, business partnerships are made, as well as lifelong friendships. It's a place for businesses, manufacturers, factories, and many others to host outings for their employees. It is a place for fundraising outings for schools, memorials, and many other worthy causes. Just this summer, Newman High School hosted their outing and raised well over $50,000 for their school, which is vital for their student body. And Newman has options for other venues, but they choose our place to host it. We have been in existence for over 100 years with much tradition and history. Just this year, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of the men's Lincoln Highway Golf Tournament, which we are the last remaining inaugural club in that tournament. And by the way, over those 100 years, Dixon Country Club / Timber Creek has the most wins of any club. If we do not have a golf course, that tradition ends, which is so important for us who are involved and for our club and the 100 years of players that we represent. With Kreider name to take it forward, it allows jobs for those with disabilities and for them to be a part of our community. With the plan of a 500-seat banquet area, opens up many opportunities for our county and well beyond. Our existence means our high school golf has a local place to call home. Our high school golf has produced many quality golfers over the years, as well as 2 individuals that I know of that have and are trying to make their way on the pro circuit. I could go on with many other things that mean so much to us who have been there for so long. But the bottom line is I'm here along with this host of fine people back there, asking for your generous consideration to help us keep our history going forward and provide a place for our community to enjoy and make those lasting memories. And I speak for myself as well as I know all of us that we thank and commend the Humphrey family and their staff for getting the grounds back in good condition for us to enjoy and providing great food service that we hope to continue and grow to make it even a better facility. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Don Bach, you next.
Thank you for taking the time to let us speak tonight. My name is Don Bach, and I'm here as a board member of Kreider Services, and also, more importantly, as a father of a child with disabilities. He's a great person. He's my best friend. He's my compadre when I go to ball games, when I go out golfing, in many instances. But as I was driving with Taylor into the city today, the first thing I saw when I came across the river was a riverfront. I thought to myself, what a wonderful project that was. Now, when it first was introduced, I remember thinking, billions of dollars to be spent to revitalize riverfront. What is that going to do for the area? Well, as we fast forward and seen the many festivals and the number of people that have enjoyed that and the response that I get from everybody outside of the area, what a wonderful thing that is. Well, I think, I know that ARPA's got a lot of requests for funding. And I think what you need to do is look forward 10 years and say, what will our legacy be? What will people think of the way we spent money? Will they remember some projects? I think the golf course is one of those projects that they will remember and say that it got saved because of people like you that voted for it. The second thing that I had, is that we at Kreider, I've been on the board for 18 years, and we have yet to receive in the 18 years that I've been there, a rate increase from the state of Illinois for services for people with disabilities. So you can imagine if you were in business and weren't able to raise your prices for the last 18 years as costs have went up, what that would do to your business. Well, Kreider is suffering financially because of that. This will provide a revenue source for Kreider going forward and in the future. So it will be a funding stream. It will not cure all our problems, but I think it will be one of those things that we're looking for ways to generate revenue in long and lasting form. So I think that's a key. Then probably most importantly, my son, I think it's the jobs for people with disabilities that really caps this whole project. My son did a project with the KSB hospital where he worked in dietary. And it was amazing to see how proud he was every morning to get on his uniform and go to work for Linda Setchell at KSB in the dietary. And the pride he had working there. Now that was great, but what really touched my heart was the time that they had a reception for Taylor at the end of the season. Dave Kane and I went there, and it was unbelievable response that those people that had worked for Taylor all summer long gave to Taylor. They threw a party for him. You could tell there was love and there was normalcy between Taylor and them and Taylor. And that probably played a bigger part. Didn't matter about the job. It mattered that Taylor was included. And I think the inclusion of people with disabilities is vitally important. I think the golf course serves it two ways. It gives a person with disabilities a chance to have a job, have that normalcy in his life. But more importantly, it's the public that they will come in contact with that maybe has never been touched by people with disabilities in that way. And I think that may be the key. We as a society need more love, and I think this is a way to give love. That being said, the people with disabilities very seldom have their voices heard. We're easily silenced because we don't have a vocal group that can stand up for themselves. What I'm asking for you is, will you give them a voice? Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Next up, I got Ron Keefe.
Good evening. My last name is Keith. First name is Ron. I'm going to go back here about 57 years ago. Graduated as a pharmacist out in South Dakota and got out of pharmacy school, and there was opportunities in obviously just about every state, but how I ended up in Dixon, Illinois, I'm not really sure, but I'm glad I did. And one of the things that, as a pharmacist, that kind of intrigued me was the fact that Charles Walgreen, who I always thought was just the drugstore guy, but he kind of was from Dixon, Illinois. Went to high school here, and so I decided, as I looked around at my dad said, make sure whatever town you go to has enough amenities to it. He said your kids will probably go to school there. Your kids may be born in the hospital there. And he said, there has to be things to do. He said, even though we don't fly an airplane, he said, see if it has a little airport. He said, I think that's a plus. And so I started looking all over, traveled to different states, looked at different cities, and I became pretty fascinated with the Dixon, Illinois, even the Charles Walgreen thing. So I could tell you stories that last for an hour, but I won't. But 1966, and I worked at Oscar Drug in downtown Dixon. And then 4 or 5 years later, I started my own little tiny pharmacy up on North Galena. But one of the things I remember very clearly is the Walgreen name, and Mrs. Charles Walgreen, Myrtle. They had the estate and still do Hazelwood up on North Brinton. And every fall, she used to kind of open it up for donations for charities. And this goes back quite a few years, obviously. And she used to sit up on the porch and we'd all come in and she wrote a book called Never a Dull Day. And I said, Mrs. Walgreen, I'm a pharmacist. Come on up here and sit down. I'd sit in a rocking chair beside her. And it was pretty interesting. She said back in the 1900s, after she first got married, she'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and make a big pot of soup and take it down to her husband's drugstore because he thought that a lunch counter was a real important thing for a drugstore. So I owned a drugstore in Open, Oregon called Decker Drug, and we had a lunch counter, and it was pretty, not a very profitable thing, but it drew a lot of people. But anyway, so she would sit there and tell me about her times at Shiner College in Mount Carroll, and she was on the board of trustees. And very interesting lady, but one of the things she kept saying to me is, when Charlie and I come out here, he just loves to come here because he bought 100 acres of land and donated it to the Dixon Country Club. And he thought this was his golf course. And she said, one of his favorite caddies, so this is like 1967, 68. She said one of his favorite caddies is now the governor of California. And I remember shaking my head. She said, that's Ronnie Reagan, you know. And I thought, yeah. And I'm just thinking now, if she could say one of Charlie's favorite caddies was the president of the United States. So I think, like Bob Vanier said, we have a lot more here than a golf course. First of all, I'm a non-golfer. I don't golf. So I did not get involved in this golf course because of my love for golf. My son lives in New York. He didn't get involved with it because of saving the golf course or anything. But I thought the history of this course is really important to the community. And so I ask you to think about think about your support for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, I got Amy Marion.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. So Shelley Dallas, the 911 director from the ETSB, and I want to see you and I also want to read. So I'm sorry if I take these on and off. Asked me to come up here and just share a little bit what I'm doing here in Lee County and Dixon today. I work for a company called Rapid SOS. We are a public safety technology company, and we have created the world's first emergency data platform. And basically we take connected technology, your device, your car, your wearable, smart homes, alarms, connect that into public safety at the time of an emergency, giving that telecommunicator the PSAP digital data delivery in addition to that voice call that they're getting. My phone's gonna lock up on me. I ramble, so if I don't follow this, I'll be all over the place. But we connect, like I said, phones, buildings, vehicles to public safety at the time of an emergency. We are a free solution to public safety. So a little bit about me, just very quickly. I come from public safety. I've worked with Shelley for about a number of years. I've been in public safety for 20 something years. My husband, my son are first responders. So it's a very personal mission to me, what we do. But we are free to public safety. We have a very unique model. And so while traditional call delivery to 911 is voice only, we're able to deliver life-saving data that may be on your phone or on your wearable device at the time of an emergency through our platform to public safety when a request for service is made. And as we grow, we're continuing to get that information out into the public safety ecosystem, law enforcement, medical, field responders, fire as well. So I just wanted to take a minute and let you know that your public safety community, your communications center, your field responders, they have been amazing to work with. My team, we brought in a film crew this week, and we just taken some pictures and some videos of your first responders here in Lee County and Dixon specifically, just to acknowledge the work they do. What we are doing as a company is trying to really create a public safety awareness story for the amazing and heroic work that our field responders do every single day, including our first responders in the 911 center. And so Shelley was gracious enough, your community was gracious enough to allow us to come in here and try to highlight some of your heroes and what they do. They've been amazing, very gracious. And so while we capture those stories, we're going to hopefully provide some images, some capture from Dixon that will also highlight your community that you guys can use, you guys can see, you can brag about, and you can share that. It's been fun to be here. Special thanks to Shelley. She allowed us, she worked with her board to get the permissions to get us to come in here and talk to the teams here. She has been an amazing asset, not just for Dixon County, but you guys might not all know what Shelley does, and she's going to probably kill me later for bragging on her a little bit. But she is one of the leaders in the state of Illinois in the 911. She is really helping with legislative efforts and just the changes going on in the public safety community in Illinois and across the country. She is one of those individuals that people look up to. So you have an asset here, not only in Shelley, but in your first responders, in your ECC. They've been amazing. So thank you for allowing me and my team to be here this week. It's been a great experience. And I just want to let you guys know how wonderful they've been. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy. That's all I have for public comments. Mr. Considine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to at this time make a motion to suspend the rules and go out of order to consider the Kreider Golf Course motion that was on the table. I didn't personally vote no for it, so I can't make a motion to actually reconsider it, but this motion is to suspend the rules and go out of order to consider it now so that the public can hear it and we can speed this up.
Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Mr. Book seconds it. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carried. Covered. So now we'll move to that section and address that. Everybody's here.
Oh,
All right, I have the Kreider Golf Course irrigation system is what we called it on the agenda. Before I consider any action on this, I'd like to reiterate the Robert's Rules of Order for a motion to reconsider. A motion to reconsider can be applied to a vote that was either adopted or rejected. The motion does not change the decision, but simply allows the original question to be reopened. There are three basic steps in this process. Step one, the motion to reconsider can only be made by a board member who voted with the prevailing side. In this case, the original motion did not pass, therefore the motion to reconsider can be made only by a member who voted no. The second of the motion can be made by any member, regardless of how he or she previously voted. Step two, the motion to reconsider is voted on by the board. Step three, if the motion to reconsider is adopted, the original vote is canceled, and the original motion is again open for debate, amendment, or any other appropriate action. If the motion to reconsider is rejected, the original vote goes back into effect. Following these guidelines, and now I'd entertain a motion to reconsider from any board member that voted no on the original motion. Mr.
I make that motion, sir.
You got a first? Do we have a second? Mr. Palin seconds it. I have a first, I have a second, any discussion? Yes, Mr. Bivens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And when I first heard about this whole project, I was not called Jeff the Kreider and asked him if he'd been smoking something, but I thought it was sounded crazy. Then as the details rolled out and as the facts came out, I thought it was a very viable project and a good project. We have given money to other amenities in the county, 4-H Center, which I supported wholeheartedly, Teen Turf, Clipper Kitties, Next Picture Show, Dixon Theater. And as was pointed out, and one thing I didn't know was that Newman had their tournament here or their conference golf outing here. Every time someone does that, they come in from out of state, we know, or out of county, we know this brings in dollars, this brings in revenue. This is an economic engine that can be used, especially if they have a venue that brings in weddings and other conventions, conferences, what have you. This brings in a lot of money to the county, not just the city. So this is, I think, a worthwhile project. And as was pointed out also, it helps the disabled. I think everybody in this on this board probably has someone either in their family or extended family that would fit that category. And as also was pointed out, this is a community that has supported the disabled for many, many decades. And so I would encourage everyone to vote yes. Thank you.
Scott in.
I originally voted no to this particular item last month. And I was on the fence going back and forth whether to vote yes or no to this. And one of the things that kind of prompted me to vote no was I didn't feel this was a tax dollar money to be supported until I started talking to some people, many people calling me, writing me letters, making messages on my phone. And I do appreciate it. I did take the time to listen and I talked to them. When I did talk to them, they made me realize why I got on this board. You know, as an outsider looking into this board, I would say, man, these board members, why aren't they getting along with other governments? And when I'm talking to these people, I became that board member. I'm like, why aren't we? I mean, Dixon City's involved, the public's involved, and Lee County's not. And I just felt, my goodness, I've become one of them. And so I'm going to be changing my vote to yes to support this. I'm moved by going out to Culver's and you see the little gentleman from Kreider's working there, and I think that is awesome. And I'd like to see them working on the golf course. So that's my take. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? None, we'll do a roll call vote.
This is on the motion just to reconsider,
I'm
correct?
sorry, yes, this is only the motion to reconsider.
Then
Thank
we'll
you.
vote on the original question.
Yes, then we vote on it. If it passes.
Forster,
yes,
Hudson. Humphrey.
Yes.
Kitson. Copine. Enemy.
No.
Naylor.
Yes.
Nicholson. Norberg.
No.
Halen. Shaline.
Yes.
Shippert.
No.
Scrogstead.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Williams.
Sadly, no.
Wilson.
No.
Seaman.
No.
Allen.
No.
Valley.
No.
Bivens.
Yes.
Book.
Yes.
Considine.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
$11 yes, 12 no.
So the original vote stands. So we move on back to the agenda. We'll go back to the county organization presents updates. Got Carrie Fulkin from Business Employed Skills Team, BEST we call it. Carrie will be attending the meeting by Zoom. Carrie, would you like to walk the board through your presentation?
Sure. Thank
Yes.
you. 2-minute recess as people exit.
Sure. I'm sorry, Carrie. Let's have a 2-minute recess here and open them.
Okay.
Get out of here. Okay, let's reconvene. We'll go back to Carrie. Carrie, you want to walk us through your presentation?
Sure. Thanks. I just wanted to thank you again for allowing me to come speak on behalf of the Business Employment Skills Team, also known as BEST. My name is Carrie Fulkin and I'm the Executive Director for BEST.
Hey, Carrie,
Mhm.
we're having a hard time hearing you.
Is that better?
Not really. I'd go ahead. I think that's as good as it's gonna get.
You know what? I can call in just with my phone if that helps better.
Okay, all right. Okay, we can. Go ahead, Carrie. They can hear you.
Okay. So I'm the Executive Director from BEST and I plan to be there in person tonight, but I had a COVID exposure that made it not possible. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to still be able to share some successes with you from customers from Lee County. And this September is National Workforce Development Month. So as an organization, we try to get more information out about workforce development. And just a little bit about BEST. It administers the federal workforce program for LaSalle, Bureau, Putnam, Lee, Whiteside, Carroll, Joe Davis, and Ogle counties with the oversight from your chief elected officials from each county. The program helps individuals who meet federal guidelines develop the skills they need to become more self-sufficient and job ready. And you should have received some information in your packet regarding some statistical information on customers and businesses served for this past program year, which was July 1st of 2021 to June 30th of 2022, along with some investments that were directly made to your county and a list of services and contact information for all 8 of our counties. And just to recap a little bit of what is on that information, this past year we worked with 84 individuals from Lee County in a variety of different programs. We also provided an incumbent worker training program to 2 businesses to offset their costs of training by $18,347.82. And 116 universal services were completed. But the main reason why we like to talk about workforce development and share the successes is from the individuals themselves who participated in our program. And I just want to share a couple with you. Abby came into the BEST program looking for assistance and training. She was a single parent and worked part-time while completing her prerequisites for the nursing program. Abby got accepted into the nursing program, but had some struggles in her classes along with her personal life. Her daughter had been born with a heart issue and then already had a couple of open heart surgeries to correct the issue. However, Abby was not willing to give up on her dream. She applied at Trinity College for the BSN program and was accepted. She took classes throughout the pandemic and was successful. Abby completed and graduated in August with her BSN. Jay was a high school student when he was referred to us by his step coordinator at Dixon High School for assistance and job. He knew he wanted to be a mechanic, but was having difficulty finding employment. Diamond, who is our youth job developer, developed an opportunity for him to work at a local automotive business through our work experience program. The business created a schedule to work around his school and work closely with him, teaching him how to change tires, change oil, and basic repairs. Jay graduated high school in May and started classes at UTI, an automotive trade school, in June. His work site continues to be very supportive of his goals. We've worked with him to customize a learning experience and a training so that he can continue to work in the mornings before he goes to school. And then he travels 150 miles round trip to UTI. He's very grateful for the work opportunity and very grateful for BEST, who is reimbursing his mileage to drive back and forth to school. And each opportunity is as unique as the people we serve. We try to make a plan of action that fits each individual so that success is within reach. I know you're as proud of the citizens of Lee County as I am, and it is an honor to be able to share these few stories with you. If you know of anyone who could benefit from our program, please give them our contact information and we'll see what we can do. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for her? Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go down to committee reports. Start out with administrative services, Mr. Norberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minutes are in your packet. I don't have really anything to report from our meeting. That's not going to come up on the agenda.
Any questions for Mr. Norberg? If none, we'll go to Blackhawk Hills Regional Council. Mr. Nicholson.
Yeah, our meetings are bi-monthly. We're going to meet on the 26th.
We'll go to C, Claims Committee, Ms. Shippard.
Minutes of our two meetings are in the packet. Rolling along smoothly.
Thank you. Any questions for Marilyn? If none, the Executive Committee, the minutes are in the packet. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. If none, we'll go to Finance, Mr. Sheeline.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee met last Thursday. Minutes are in your packet and also just a couple of highlights that I do want to point out. ARPA Committee made a recommendation to the Finance Committee in regards to funding of the broadband project that you'll see in the resource folder. We changed that up a little bit. Instead of, we felt that the money that needed to come for the broadband, it might be a longer term project, and didn't think that that was appropriate use for ARPA since there is a time limit on the ARPA money. So we've got plenty of projects that are coming out of capital that will be used using up the ARPA money. So we switched that recommendation that came out of the ARPA. So just want to point that out. The other thing was you'll notice that we did approve the new hire for the state's attorney's office and have that early. That was going to be scheduled for and what is within Charlie's budget for this next year. But because of he has a person that he has candidate in mind and has a pretty severe need, so we did approve to go ahead and have that done in this fiscal year and not wait. Other than that, everything else is in the agenda. Any questions, I'll entertain.
I've got a question. So when you change the ARPA money, the regular capital money, will that affect that 4 times money that we were talking about possibly getting?
So that was brought up. It was my understanding, and Mr. Wilson was involved in that conversation, and it was my understanding that it would not.
Mr. Wilson, you got anything to add to that?
I know nothing of that. I do know that, talking to that gentleman.
Just honest.
I don't think I was involved. I don't think I was involved in that decision-making process, but yeah, the 4 times the money from the Treasury. I think Wendy could speak to it a lot better. She did a little research and she would love to speak right now.
He was reading that all over my face. So yeah, the private partner, CEO, attended the ARPA committee meeting and did state that there was an opportunity to receive 4 times the amount of money. If we spent ARPA money, there was an opportunity to receive 4 times that in the future. So following up with him after the meeting and delving into that a little deeper, I think that I personally misinterpreted it, and I suspected that the committee members did as well. So it turns out that we're not going to get any more, quote, ARPA money, whereas the government hands us dollars and we figure out how to spend it. 4 times would come into play as part of the overall infrastructure bill. Similar in that it's COVID related money, but different pot of money you might think about it as. And so the infrastructure bill dollars are all going to be grant funded. They're not going to be hand the county X amount of dollars and you guys figure out how to spend it. So 4 times coming back at us would be in the form of grants for future broadband projects, not future capital projects. So my understanding is that there's not a great deal of benefit to be able to use ARPA dollars, and there's risk to using ARPA dollars if we can't expend the money on a broadband project quick enough. So that's why Finance Committee altered their vote or recommendation.
Mr. Wilson.
One other thing, Wendy, at this, if you do the 5 requirements the government set aside for the original ARPA money, they look with favor in you for these things.
Yes.
We put aside $1.5 million for the next 2 years. And improvements money also look with favor on us for future projects for the air conditioning. Or does that not qualify?
Yeah, I would say that, and that didn't qualify under the original interim rules for COVID. So no, I would say that probably wouldn't.
Comments or questions? Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Jim. Move to the Health Department, Ms. White.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is it okay if I stand?
Yep.
I don't like sitting when I'm presenting. Okay, thank you. We met on September 13th at 6:30 at the Health Department. The minutes are in your packet, but just some quick overview. The MPV, which is the monkeypox virus, is going down a little bit in Illinois. As an FYI, we don't have any reported cases. There was some calls for testing, but nothing has been reported as positive. So for COVID, we're still awaiting the bivalent boosters. And once we have that, we will schedule clinics upon arrival. So fiscally, the health department has had some concerns about cash reserves going down due to the recent levy cuts. And they specifically wanted the board to know that they have been very fiscally responsible with the taxpayers' dollars. For the grants, all but one grant for the fiscal year of 2023 has been executed, which is actually really good news. And the only the only grant that has not been executed is the family planning, but that's very typical and usual. So they're not anticipating any challenges or problems with that. For flu clinics, there are upcoming clinics coming in the communities outlying our county. I think it's Ashton, Pawpaw, Franklin, a couple others. They will be coming. You guys can come and get your shots. There will be notices on the website. You will know. This sounds silly, but bat calls and submissions for those bat calls have gone down. Bats are very prominent this time of year. If you do have a bat, it's very important not to touch the bat. They need to test the bat for any diseases, because it costs us a lot of money if somebody comes in contact with the bat that's not been tested, and it actually could cause the person who comes in contact with the bat lots of money if they don't have health insurance as well. The Board of Health did approve an eye plan, and they will submit that to the IDPH for approval. And our next meeting will be on November 16th at 6:30. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. 911 board, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Other than what is already been provided in the package from Director Dallas, the 911 fee conversion has not occurred. Activity gearing up with the next generation 911 project. The equipment is to be shipped October 1st. The operation, though, readiness testing schedule is begin October 31st to November 4th. And the migration cut date is scheduled for November 17th, 22. The September ETS meeting has been moved back a week in order not to interfere with the county board meeting this evening. And the next scheduled meeting is Thursday, November 29th, 5:30 at the county ECC building. And October ETS meeting will be Thursday, October 27th. Questions?
Any questions for Mr. Hudson? Thanks, Keen. Get on to properties, planning and zoning, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Few things to report. Everything's in the onboard folder, but a few things to talk about was, as you walked in tonight, you saw the new backup generators being installed. We're waiting to find a Saturday where we can shut power down with ComEd, power up the building in our IT department. We have a boiler project right now with our contractors over in the new courts building. Doing a boiler project that started last week. It's supposed to take about 10 days. That project should be coming to a close end of next week, we hope. We've got pressure tanks for the existing boiler over in the new courts building. That's supposed to be done in November. We are going to be putting out for bid the new other boiler in the new courts building that needs to be replaced. Hopefully by the end of this month. By the end of November or the end of October, we'd like to put out for bid the HVAC system in the new courts building. We're getting all the scope letters and what have you put together for that. The old LEC, we're getting demolition drawings completed from our architect. We should have those hopefully soon. There's not a whole lot of work left on that, but we're very active in the properties right now. We got a lot of projects coming down the pike. We got carpeting at the new courts building. Some soundproofing for Judge Klon that we're gonna be looking at. There's just a lot of stuff coming down the pike. One thing I'd like to do is thank Becky and Wendy for meeting on Wednesday mornings. Dave Valley and I have been coming in and having weekly meetings with the maintenance team, and that's paying dividends. It's helping us get things organized quicker. That's all I've got.
Any questions? I've got one on the new courts building. Are we, will be all right for winter heat over there?
Yeah, it couldn't have started at a better time, but we're gonna be fine. 10 days, within 10 days, we should be complete.
The elevator, I don't know if you mentioned that in your report.
Elevators already, that's all in motion. It's seriously not gonna be until probably May or June of next year before we see anything from the elevator contractor. Everything's been put in action. All the electrical, the plumbing, the support beam, all that stuff, that's all, we're gonna hit our budget, but the elevator company takes a long time, and we're probably looking at May or June, I would guess, before we'd start that project.
All right. Any questions for Tom? Thanks, Tom. Go to public safety, health and judicial. Mr. Copine.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public safety met on the 14th of this month. All of the details of the meeting are in the packet. You can read those. The only thing that may be a little bit of outstanding information was a report on what was labeled as the old Lee County School. And to break that down a little bit more in detail, we're referring to the old grade school in Lee Center, Illinois. There have become some health issues that have arise from actions of no facilities being in the building, and somebody has made purchase of the building via the recent tax auction that we had. So we're taking a look at some potential actions being taken there. Other than that, the rest of the meeting minutes are there. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer.
Questions? Thank you. Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Go to transportation, solid waste. Casey, Mr. Constantine, did they have a quorum or did you have a meeting?
We had a meeting, but we did not have a quorum, Mr. Chair. So we discussed current highway projects. The meeting, the notes are in there, so you can see where each one of the projects are and their status. Most of them have been completed. Some haven't been started, but you can look through the projects and see what's upcoming. So big one, Morgan Road Bridge hasn't started yet, so that one will be starting here shortly, but everything's going along good for the county right now for roads and bridges. So nothing else really.
All right. Any questions for Casey? Thanks, Casey. Tri-County Opportunities Council, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was unable to attend due to being here for a county board meeting, but I do have a minute and it's in everybody's package so that they can read. But I would like to emphasize that we would like you to use our website, and have known anybody needs a job, direct them to that site, please.
Any questions for Myron? Thank you, Myron. Tourism, Mr. Palin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lee County Tourism Council met on September 14th. And we are in the process of reviewing our advertising program for next year in order to obtain the best effect from our advertising dollar. The flyer on your desk lists a few of the upcoming activities occurring in our county, and on the reverse side, it contains some interesting information supplied by the Illinois Office of Tourism. In regard to the July hotel motel tax, the Super 8 motel payment for June was delayed. So we received a double payment in July, making our portion for the July hotel motel tax $14,093.96. This concludes my report.
Any questions for Mr. Palin? Thanks, Bill. UCCI, Mr. Foster, are you still on the line?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman.
Did you have-
I was having Can you hear me, Bob?
Yep, I didn't know if you were at the meeting or not.
No. The next meeting is until Monday, the 26th in Springfield. But, so I really have another report. I was having tests taken. I will be having tests taken this coming Monday, so I won't be attending the medical test. But yeah, I was gonna check with any of the board members, yourself first, of course. If somebody wants to represent us this month down in Springfield. It's at 9 a.m. at Sangamon Club, downtown Springfield. I have more details when I get back home. If they want to reach me, I can give them.
All right, I'll do that. Thanks, Doug. Anybody
Yeah,
interested? Look me up after the meeting and we'll sign somebody up. Thank you, Doug.
Thank
Let's
you.
let's move on to 12, unfinished business. The financial and accounting policies ordinance was held over in August. Is there a motion to approve the financial and accounting policies and procedure ordinance that was held over in August? Mr. Sheeline moves, Mr. Norbert seconds it. Any discussion on this? If there's no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving down to the adoption of Lee Oval Greenways, Trails and Plan. We tabled this in August. The Lee Oval Greenways and Trails Plan was tabled in August. If there's a motion, to move this off the table. Mr. Nicholson moves, Mr. Norbert seconds it. Any discussion? We're just moving it off the table so we can vote on it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now it's on the table. Is there a motion to approve the Lee Oval Greenways and Trails Plan? Mr. Nicholson, Mr. Copine seconds it. Any discussion? None discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Now. We go to new business. If I'm correct, 13. The ARPA committee funding recommendations, there's none this month. B, broadband matching funds. The recommendation coming out of finance committee. The recommendation for ARPA coming out of finance for the ARPA committee was to fund the broadband grant 100%. Rounded off at $1.7 million from the ARPA fund because there was concerns regarding the completion date, of the project exceeding the deadline set forth by the ARPA guidelines. The finance committee sent a revised recommendation to the executive committee to support the project using capital funds. There is a resolution. There is a resolution in support of the broadband grant in your packet. Is there a motion to approve the resolution supporting the broadband grant application to allocate 1.7 million of grant match if the grant is awarded? Mr. Wilson moves and Ms. Shippert seconds it. Any discussion on this? Yes, Mr. Sheeling.
I feel kind of compelled to apologize to the board. This was a real, like Katie, this was a real change and this came on really fast and it's a significant amount of dollars. But so it's not something that I would normally support because this body didn't really have a chance to go through and be a part of the negotiations with the company that's being done with, all the details, all the background work that we would normally be involved in an expenditure this large. The only thing was I've had multiple discussions with Wendy as this came down the pike. It's so far down the road that we really there's no point for us to really have gotten re-involved in the discussions and the negotiations of how this all came about. So I feel badly. This is not the way I normally like to do things. But at the same time, this is a priority that we made as far as the ARPA dollars goes, and it does fit, and it is definitely an investment for our county's future. So I do ask you to support the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Line. Any more comment? Mr. Copine, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is this still over a 5-year period of time?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Line.
So what this would be, the expenditure that you're going to see out of capital is actually $350,000.
And there is others in competition for this grant, so this is only good if we get the grant. Any more questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Now we go to board rules and procedures. Wendy, is there anything specifically you'd like to make the board aware of regarding the updated board rules and procedure?
No, I'd be happy to entertain any questions that anyone has. I do want to give a shout out to Marilyn Shippert, who helped me out by thoroughly reviewing, found some typos, found some inconsistent language, and I was really appreciated that she took the time to do that. Charlie also reviewed, and I was able to incorporate Charlie's suggestions into the document as well. Other than that, I don't have anything unless you all have questions for me.
Well, let's get it. Well, what was Charlie's ideas there? I know you've shared them with me. Let's share them with the board, or do you want to do that if we get a motion on the table?
I'd be happy to if I could remember Charlie's ideas. I think, Bob, though, maybe the one that you're thinking about was there was a question that Charlie posed as to now that we're doing things digital in the digital environment and people are able to join the meeting via Zoom, and we're allowing that by the board rules. If it meets the Open Meetings Act requirement, the question that was posed by Charlie was, should there be any limitation to the number of meetings that a board member could attend throughout the year via Zoom? And I didn't get a consistent message back from those board members that I checked with over the last few days. And so right now, this document does not include any sort of limitation.
The one where Charlie was the deciding factor that he moved to the chair of the board. I don't remember that. Is this part of the handbook? Me and you talked about, or the board rules and procedures?
Again, Bob, I'm not sure exactly which one you're talking about, but the one we talked about just a few hours ago was the conflict of interest section in the board rules. Requires a member to consult with the state's attorney, or if as a member you are concerned another member has a conflict of interest, you should consult with the state's attorney. And I did add some language to that at Charlie's recommendation that said that if anyone wanted to appeal the state's attorney's decision, it would be appealed to the board chair, and the board chair's decision would be final.
Yes, that's what I was looking to. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that change. So let's get a motion on the table. Is there a motion to approve the board rules and procedures resolution? Mr. Kitson moves, Shippert seconds it. Now we have a discussion about that. Are we comfortable with that?
I had a question.
Sure.
I thought I saw in the procedures where if you're on Zoom, there would be a quorum for voting purposes or something.
So according to the Open Meetings Act, if the meeting, whether it be a committee meeting or a full board meeting, if we don't have a quorum physically present in the room, you essentially can't have the meeting. So people on Zoom can't participate either because you can't have a legal meeting. So we do need to have a physical quorum in the room, and therefore the rule has always been, but I might have reworded it a little bit, that you need to let the committee chair or the board chair know in advance if you're going to attend by Zoom. Again, the idea being that we have to make sure we have a physical presence quorum in the room. So yeah, you need to consult with your committee chair or board chair to make sure that we've got a quorum.
Seems like there's no point in attending on Zoom if you can't be part of a quorum, but I get it.
No, I think I might have misled you, Mike. You can vote and you would be a part of the quorum. You just can't create the physical in the room quorum. You'd be allowed to vote and participate. In other words, you just can't be considered when we count to determine if we have a physical quorum. Does that make more sense?
That does. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Norberg, did you have something you want to add to that? Any more questions or comments? So once again, we're voting to approve the board rules and procedures. A resolution. We got a first and a second. We had discussion. So all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we go to D, resolution authorizing the creation of the creation of the Reagan Mass Transit District. So Ogle is still not ready to vote on this. They were questioning some issues with it. I think they've had their questions answered, but I would entertain a motion to table this. Mr. Norbert moves. Mr. Nicholson seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor to table this, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Also, can I also get a resolution to table the authorization of the creation of the Reagan Mass Transit District? Mr. Hudson moves. Ms. Naylor seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Move down to F, animal control, revise fees and revise fees, fines and schedules. Is there a motion to approve Lee County Animal Control revised fees and fines schedule resolution? Valley, sorry. Mr. Scrogstad seconds it. Any discussion? Mr. Valley.
Discussion on it, yeah, adoption fees, I'd like to see them less, but this is just almost basically cost in the adoption fees, and it's in line with other areas, and of course, we'll get behind in a couple years before they get updated, so.
Ms. Shippert.
I checked with Wendy, who checked with Terry this morning or this afternoon. It still is in the animal control ordinance that a senior citizen is allowed to register and a dog or cat. One animal.
I wonder how much of the public is aware of that, or do they let them know when they come in? I wonder.
I have no idea.
Yes, Mr. Kennedy.
They do let you know when you come in to pay. I found that out myself when I got old. But I don't think it's very well published. I mean, I don't think people know that they physically go in, because a lot of times you pay that fee at a veterinary clinic when you get a rabies shot for the dog, and then you pay it. Nobody knows.
What would be a better way to get that word out? Yeah. All right, any more questions or comments? All those in favor? The revised fees and fines and schedule resolution, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Go to G, new hire in the state's attorney's office. Mr. Boonstra attended the Public Safety and Finance Committee meetings regarding his request to hire an additional assistant state's attorney in his office prior to December 1st. Is there a motion to approve the new hire in the state's attorney's office prior to December 1st? Mr. Kitson moves. Mr. Hudson seconds. Any discussion? Any discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried. Go to H, next stamp. It's financial assurance of decommissioning. Is there a motion to approve the next stamp financial assurance of decommissioning? Does everybody understand what this is? Ms. Shippert, let's get a motion on the table and we'll discuss it. Mr. Kitson, thank you. I got first and second. We'll go into discussion. Wendy said she'd take a stab at this. You ready, Wendy?
I'm ready. So Alice did report at the last minute. She was not able to be here tonight, so she apologized for that, but she did ask me to explain. This is for the project. It's a small 2 megawatt project, sits on 19 acres over by Paw Paw. So it's a project that's already built. It was built under the original solar energy ordinance, and the original ordinance required decommissioning financial assurance. And at the board's discretion, you can allow for this decommissioning financial assurance through and forgive me, I'm trying to read the report here, through a surety bond. That's the word I was missing. And so all Alice is trying to do here is to get that surety bond on file for that project that's already been built and kind of do some cleanup on that. The company's been contacted. They're willing to do it. We need the board's approval to authorize a surety bond for the decommissioning.
Any questions, Mr. Kitson?
I assume you are, but I'd just like to hear,
Yeah, so I've already looked at it. I've actually looked at the proposal on it. We talked through the resolution of how it would look, and I'm comfortable with it.
Thank you.
More questions, comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We'll go down to 14, appointment of Reagan Mass Transit District of Board Trustees.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a motion that we take all the appointments as one?
Words right out of my mouth. Yes. Wait a second. Mr. Copine seconds that. Any discussion? Yes, Larry.
Question, do these people get paid to be on these boards?
I couldn't answer that question, to be honest with you.
What's the question?
Yes, Mr. Herbert.
I can tell you that the planning commission does get paid. I don't believe the Reagan Mass Transit District will be.
I suspect it'll be just like with you guys, it'll be a per diem. It won't be a salary necessarily, but it'll be, you show up at a meeting and you get a per diem and mileage. That I think is one of the things that has to be worked out with the Reagan Mass Transit District. And in fact, Bob, I have to apologize. We had you table the Reagan Mass Transit items. Probably should table the appointments to the Reagan Mass Transit District as well, because we're essentially appointing people to a district we haven't yet approved.
I will rescind my motion. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we table the appointments to the Reagan Mass Transit District. Second.
Very good. Sheila made the motion. Mr. Norbert seconded. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll make a motion to approve all the planning appointments as one.
And just to reiterate the question, planning commission members do receive a per diem similar to what you do.
Mr. Considine seconds it. All those in favor on planning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I need a minute here to catch up.
Yeah. Go for it.
Mr. Chairman, we still need to make a motion to approve the appointments.
Okay. We have,
I make that motion.
we have a second. Mr. Norbert. All those in favor of approving the appointments, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. How far does that take us down to? I got
Circuit clerk report.
somehow I got something. These. All right. All right. Executive session. I have no executive session. I need approval of county office reports, quarterly treasury report. Ms. Shippert, Mr. Kitson seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried. So we go down to approval of monthly revenue report, claims paid, claims paid and vacation, payroll paid. Do I need a motion? Yes, Miriam. Any makes a motion. Ms. Naylor seconds that. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in, we gotta have a roll call vote on this.
Hudson. Humphrey,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copine,
Yes.
Enemy,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yes.
Norberg,
Yes.
Palin, Sheline, Shippert, Scrugstead,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wilson, Seaman,
Yes.
Allen, Valley, Bivens, Book,
Yes.
Considine,
Yes.
Barster,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the board member mileage and per diem for the August 2022 meetings? Mr. Cobain moves, Mr. Kitson seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Wilson. Second. Mr. Considine. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.